Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Friday, October 25th. I feel like, man, it's like finally we're back in the home office. I know we've been away a bit. We came in Wednesday night, Thursday morning. It was like 2 a.m. It's like we've barely even touched down, and now we're getting out of here again, going over to DC for the Marine Corps Marathon. So trying to turn this podcast around pretty quickly for you guys. I know when we were in San Diego, we did get something out. We got a little bit of a video podcast, me and Steph. Didn't get the audio out, but apologize for that. I'm still working on that road game, guys, but for me to get anything out, that's a good thing. But even today, I got to tell you, today we've had a lot of things going on the last couple of days. We got to, unpack, repack, get everything ready. 2 kids going. It's insane. Plus one other thing that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. One thing we didn't mention last weekend or while we were in San Diego, Sarah Kornbaum. Congratulations, Sarah. Sarah qualified for the Boston Marathon last weekend. She had been training really hard, pushing herself really hard, and she was coming up. She had some adversity there. She didn't know if she was going to be able to do it, and it's just great to see. Great to see you qualify, and I think that's Boston 2021. So now you're going to make us have to go out. We got to go watch Boston next year and the year after that. So looking forward to that, Sarah. It's a great accomplishment. Incredible. What else we got? So let's talk about this week. Sarah, we also got to get you signed up for Team Ordinary. That's the reason this fell through the cracks. I have my list here of races, and you just weren't on it. So we got to make sure we get you signed up. I wanted to do this podcast yesterday. Like I said, just a little bit too much going on. We were just exhausted because Stephanie Brown was out there doing the Florida Tech Homecoming 5K. She finished 8th place female, I believe. Congratulations, Stephanie. That's awesome. Awesome job. Big weekend this week. We had a lot of 5Ks tomorrow. The Great Pumpkin 5K, Matt Shore. Stephanie Brown, that is, doing another 5K, Ghostly Gecko 5K. Wish you good luck there. And the Booze and Brews 5K, Charlie Duffy. I believe Charlie's got some kind of crazy goal. He wants to what do you want to beat? 15 minutes or something in a 5K? 19 minutes? I think it's 19. Wish you good luck there, Charlie. Let us know how you do. It'll be exciting to see how you do there. Of course, the big day is Sunday for us this weekend. Ironman Waco, 70.3. We got 2 athletes out there. Scott Frassard, our buddy from Forever Home Running, he's out there. I wish you good luck, Scott. I know it's been a tough training season for you, and we're all rooting for you. I'll be tracking you and Sarah Bauman. Sarah Bauman's also out there in Waco. I'll be tracking both of you while I stand outside in the rain watching the Marine Corps Marathon. Watching all of our athletes here. 2 athletes that were kind of off the list. Denny Cray from Diz Run's podcast. He's been a podcast guest of ours a number of times. Looking forward, hopefully, to meeting him. I haven't met him in person ever, so looking forward to meeting you, Denny. Out there, Randy Latza, he's been on our group, posting a lot the last few weeks, and want to welcome you to the group, first of all, Randy. And second of all, we got to get you signed up for Team Ordinary. Get you on these lists so that I can mention you every single time you got a race. Now, as far as the Team Ordinary members running this race, Ron Booz is doing the 50K. We got to talk about Ron quickly because he's been training hard. I've been seeing him crushing hills, doing lots and lots of miles out there. This is a big, big accomplishment for him, his first 50K. You just got to go out there and do it. You got to go out there and do it, Ron. I got faith in you. I'm going to be out there cheering you on, even if it's raining. Please don't rain. But even if it's raining, I'll be out there cheering you on all the way to the finish, and I know you're gonna succeed on Sunday. Bill Costello. Good to see. It'll be good to see you out there. Haven't seen you in like a year and a half. Debbie Early. What can I say, Deb? You got to get out there and do it. I know it's been sort of a tough training season for you, but you just finished Berlin. You crushed it. You had a really impressive time. I don't think you're gonna have a problem with this one. I don't think so. And the rain's gonna suck, but you're gonna get out there. You're gonna get it done. It's gonna be good to see you getting it done. Aura Kennedy. This is gonna be her first marathon. I've been training her. Her and Stephanie. We can talk about that briefly. The wheels fell off a little bit these last 2 or 3 weeks for both of you guys. Part of it's because we were traveling. Part of it's just the wheels fell off. I don't know what happened. But the good news is 3 weeks ago, you guys did over 16 miles, and that's a good run. That is a good long run. Now, you may not have done a lot the last 2 or 3 weeks, but you guys were up to 16 miles comfortably. And then, you consider this sort of an extended tapering. That's fine. I think both of you guys can do it. I do. I have faith in both of you guys. I think, you set your right intervals, be a little bit lenient, be a little bit more conservative with that. And I believe that you guys can do it. I do. You got to get to mile 22 doing a 14-minute pace. Once you get there, if you're dying, you'll walk it in. But you'll do it. You're going to get there. I know you're going to get there. Ray Magana, it's going to be so good seeing you out there. Katie Mayo. Katie we got our eyes on the watch, don't we, Katie? So looking forward to seeing you there. Danielle and Mike Rose Valley going to be out there. Danielle, we're going to have a conversation about your strength training stuff. I've totally spaced on that. My mind's everywhere lately. It's just, we're just all over the place. Chantel Sandberg, can't wait to meet you. I've known you for a few months now on the page. Has it been over a year? You've been around. You've been around the group for quite a while. Looking forward to hanging out with your husband and watching you guys. I think this is Chantel's first marathon too. So there's a lot of first timers out there. So we got a lot to cheer about. I'm going to have a lot to celebrate when we're done. And lastly, Katie Evers, a new person to the group. Katie, I hope you get out there. I hope you crush Marine Corps Marathon as well. Looking forward to meeting you as well. Just for you guys who are going to be there, I'll give you a little bit of the schedule. We're going to probably post this on the page. 8:30 a.m. on Saturday, we're going to be at the Keybridge Marriott doing a shakeout run. Katie Mayo is going to lead that run. We're going to go sort of to the Marine Corps Memorial, which is where the race finishes and ends. So I think that's a good thing to do for a number of reasons. Number one, we can kind of just go out there and visit. If you guys have family who are military, it's a nice monument to visit, for every American really, but especially if you have family that are military. Stephanie and I, both of our fathers are Marines, and it's a good place for us to go and see. But also, the second reason is because if you're staying at the Keybridge Marriott, I know a lot of you guys are, it's a good way to sort of get the lay of the land and know when you finish the race, you can be confident that you know exactly where you're going and how to get back to the hotel if you're choosing to walk. I think it's walking distance. I don't know if you're even going to bother with a cab at that point, but I think the hotel's walking distance. So at least when you finish the race, you're comfortable. It's kind of like one of the logistics that you don't have to worry about, because that's the last thing that you want to have on your mind when you're running a marathon is, where do I go when I'm done, right? No one wants to deal with that. After our shakeout run, we're gonna head on over to the Expo. Steph and I are probably gonna go pretty quickly after we finish the shakeout run, so that we can meet you guys for lunch. There's a restaurant called the Cadillac Ranch. It supposedly has a mechanical bull. No one is allowed on the bull if you're running the race. That is a rule. I will tackle you before you get on the bull. But we're gonna be meeting there from 12 to 2 for lunch. I think, I think that what we'd like to do is get as many people as possible. If you're going and you have your Team Ordinary shirt and you brought it with you, wear it on Saturday. You can wear it on Sunday too if you want. I don't care. If you want to run it in the race. But I get it with clothes and running and you want to at least have a trial run with a shirt before you wear it in a race like a marathon. So if you haven't run with the shirt, don't do it, but wear it on Saturday. We're going to all be looking for each other. We'll all be, it'll be a good way that if you show up for lunch and you're trying to meet us, it'll be a good way just to spot you and know to say hi. Post race. And that's kind of it for Saturday, because you guys got to get to bed early, go have dinner on your own terms, all that good stuff, get a good night's sleep. After the race, we're going to go to a place called Meridian Pint. And I left this guy out for a reason. Meridian Pint is a bar. It's in Arlington, owned by Frank Fumick. Frank is a 2 or 3 time podcast guest, an amazing guy. He's running Marine Corps Marathon. This is going to be his 100th marathon, folks. So what a great accomplishment. He's 97 years old. No, I'm just kidding. He's a young guy. He does a lot of incredible things, raises money for a lot of really really cool projects that he does, really good reasons. He's just very inspirational dude. And if you finish the race and you head on over to Meridian Pint and you show him your medal, he will give you free beer. So what's the problem here? That's where we're going. I got to get a better address on that. If you're on the Facebook group, just keep your eye out. We will have the address and all that good stuff posted there shortly. And that's, we're really looking forward to getting out there, guys. I'm really looking forward. I'm going to be bringing the GoPro. That's my job, is to cheer people on, and to take lots of video, and hopefully have something that I can cobble together back into some sort of Marine Corps marathon recap video when I get back. Whew. I like this podcast. I like the way this is going. One thing to mention, we are going to start next week with a new feature. It's going to be hopefully a weekly guest blog on our webpage, teamordinary.com. I'm hoping it's weekly. It may be more, it may be less. I don't know. It depends how things shake out. I've had interest from about 3 people already. So we're lined up. We have 3 people already lined up as authors of guest posts. So we're going to start on Tuesday, hopefully release them every Tuesday, with Danielle Rose Valley. She's already submitted to me. I haven't read it yet, but I can't wait to read it. She's a very inspirational person. So I can't wait to see what she's written, and I can't wait to put that together for you guys on next Tuesday. So that'll be the guest blog. I'm really, guys, we have so much going on. It's just incredible. I got 2 new coaching clients starting in November. I'm looking forward to that. If you're looking for a coach and you're interested, reach out to me. Really getting started with that too. It's so motivational to see you guys just attack your races and get your race plans together and help you succeed. I can't wait to really get into that and really get started. So if you're interested in coaching, reach out to me by all means. Now, here's the story I wanted to tell you guys today. This happened to me yesterday, and has absolutely nothing to do with running. And it's kind of, I guess it has to do a little bit with me appreciating some certain people, a group of people, and really, let me just tell you the story. Nothing to do with running. So, if you don't want to hear it, I get it, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So yesterday, we were away in San Diego, got home at 2 a.m., and my mother-in-law was here watching Ellie while we were gone. So she wanted to go back to New York. She lives in New York, so she wanted to get back to New York early. So I had to drive her and drop her off at the bus station in the morning. She takes the bus back to New York. We dropped her off about 6:45. I think I left the house at 6:45, and I had to turn around quickly, and I had to get home in order to take Samantha to school. Now, I knew I had plenty of time. I probably had about 20 minutes to a half an hour of extra time there to get down and back if there was no traffic. If there was traffic, I knew I'd be cutting it close to get Sam to school on time. So that was my situation. Dropped my mother-in-law off at the bus station and left. I had to make a right-hand turn out of the bus station, and there's a car coming, but he's far enough away that I can kind of make the right-hand turn with no problem. But I could tell something's up with this dude, and he starts speeding, as if I cut him off, but I was nowhere near cutting him off, and he kind of flew by me on the left, and now we're kind of getting into the city of Springfield, where there's just a section of every intersection's a red light, almost similar to like what you'd find in New York. And what they try to do is they try to time the lights, right? So that you barely have to even slow down. All the lights turn green, and you just kind of zoom through them. Now I'm approaching the first light, and this guy that just passed me, he's not slowing down. The light is red. And I'm like, it's one of those where you're kind of driving along the road. It's early in the morning, and you see the guy go on your left going through the light, and you almost want to go through it because you're like, wait a minute. And you have to take a second because you feel like you should be just driving with traffic, and then you look up, the light's red. So I stop, and he goes through the light. And as soon as he's underneath the light turns green. And so, yeah, I get it. He's driving through the streets, trying to time the lights. The second intersection we get to, and now he's a little bit further ahead of me, the light is just red. It is just red. And now he's significantly up ahead of me, but I can see him still, and he flies through the second red light. By the time I approach it, I slow down. I'm hitting the brakes. It's red still. And as I almost ready to stop, the light turns green. I start going, and this guy is just still full on the gas, and I see him like 2 intersections ahead, and I'm just cringing because I'm like, this is just an accident waiting to happen. He's just out of control, out of control, driving like a maniac right through the red lights. And sure enough, as he goes through that third intersection, a car comes from the other direction. It's a one-way street. So we're on a one-way, and the car and the side is a one-way street. He actually is getting through the intersection, and the car going through the green light smacks into his rear panel. Really bad. And his car turns around and goes down the one-way street that the lady that just hit him came from. So he spins around and goes that way. She knocks over a sign. Thank God no one was on the sidewalk. And I saw it all. And now the first thing in my mind is like, oh crap. I just watched an accident. I got to go home and get my daughter, get her to school though. How bad is it? Is it a fender bender? Because it's a fender bender. You're just kind of like, all right, I'll call the police. I'll tell them I saw it. But this was a bad collision. It was loud, and full speed kind of thing. So I see that, the one car, the truck, the guy, it was a like an SUV. The guy hit into an SUV. They're up on the sidewalk, and he's kind of down the side road. I pull over. I get out of my car, and I see that the guy who was the obnoxious driver. Number one, if I need to be on scene and trying to help somebody, I'm not helping the asshole driver who was just running red lights. And I'm going through my mind thinking, all right, you can't, when you see someone driving like that, you like to think that they're by themselves, or that, they're kind of like punks anyway. So just whatever, just like you'd like to hope that there's no family and no kids in that car. I think that's usually the case when I see, unless you're Sheldon Richardson of the Jets. It just, I wanted to go find out the person in the SUV, because I feel like, this guy was running red lights. He knows he's in danger. He gets smacked out. This person, and while I get in my car, I'm thinking, who is this person? Like, what am I about to come up against and see here? Is it someone going to work? Is it someone picking up their kids to go to school? Is it someone driving their kids to school? Is it someone who is, has had a long night and they're going home? I don't know. And I don't know what I'm going to see, because they got smacked pretty hard. And I'm thinking, there's going to be airbags. Is there going to be blood? Is there going to be broken bones? Is there going to be people not breathing? And for that brief instant, I just was like, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to see, but I have to go and look, right? I have to go, because if this person needs help, they're going to need help. And I kind of realized at that moment what first responders go through. And that moment where you don't know what you're going to see. What are you about to see? So I get out of my car and I'm walking towards her car, and I'm debating, do I call 911 before going to the car? And I see that the guy that was like the punk driving through the red lights, he's out of his car. So I'm like, okay, he's okay. I don't even want to look at him at that point. And honestly, I didn't look his way. I felt like there might be a confrontation too, because he was driving like such an obnoxious prick that I just was afraid that he was going to get out and blame the other person. And then, and meanwhile, I don't even know if the other person's like conscious at this point. So I'm just ignoring him, and I'm figuring he's got to call 911. I'm going to see what so I go over the car. No kids in the car, thankfully. It's just sort of an older woman. Airbag is out. It smells like it's chalky, and it smells like something like fire, like gunpowder or something. And that's pretty much what an airbag is. She's conscious. She's got her head back, and she's like, I had the green light. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I saw it all. Don't you worry about that. How are you? How are you feeling? My chest hurts. My left knee hurts. She's breathing though. And I don't know about her neck. And I'm like worried. I just took CPR as a coach. And I'm worried, I don't want to move her. I don't, she's kind of pressed up against the thing. So I just start talking her, kind of easing her down. It wasn't your fault. I saw the whole thing. The guy comes over to me. Is she okay? I'm like, I think she's okay. I said, did you call 911? He said, no. And I'm like, well, call 911. Some other guy comes over that didn't see the accident, but must have heard it. And he came over and he starts calling 911. He's like, I don't have a signal. It's not letting me put the call through. So I run back to my car, get my phone. call 911. But as soon as I call, somebody else was on. So now we got 911 coming. So now I go back to the lady, and I start talking to her, and we're just waiting. She wants me to call her daughter. She says, I have to go pick up my grandkids and take them to school. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen this morning. Do you want me to call someone? Call my daughter. So I call the daughter, leave her a message on the phone. She calls me back. Your mother got into a car accident. She's okay. She's probably going to the hospital. The car is destroyed, but it wasn't her fault. You can't blame her. I saw the whole thing. Wasn't her fault. The lady was very nice. She was a little concerned, and then she had to kind of figure out about her kids, getting them to school and stuff. But her mother was okay. The car was bad. I don't think the car is going to be... The car is totaled. Both cars likely totaled. His car was totaled because it was a piece of crap to begin with. It took like 15 minutes for the firemen to come. The fire department came first. Out pops a guy that is my old neighbor, my friend Mike. I talked to him. I told him the whole story. All of a sudden, this other guy on the scene, and you could tell, and I don't know where he came from because I wasn't paying attention. And that's another lesson, I think. I should have been paying a little bit more attention to the scene. I was really just worried about this one woman. And she's still in the driver's seat. I don't know if she wasn't really necessarily pinned, but she wasn't really, it wasn't a comfortable distance where she could just kind of step out. And I don't think she wanted to go anywhere either. So it was good that we just kept her there. Now the firemen are on the scene and we're a lot better off. They're asking the same questions I did. And I'm like, oh, same questions I asked. That's great. At least I knew what I was doing. And they're concerned for her neck too. So about 5 minutes later, the ambulance comes. So 20 minutes after the accident, in the middle of a city, the ambulance comes. And so now I'm talking to my fireman friend and I'm like, look, I saw the whole thing. And my fear is just that one of these punks from this car are going to tell you the opposite story. And he's like, well, you got to stick around and wait till the cops come. They didn't come for another 10 minutes. Now, mind you, I got to get home and drive Sam to school. And now I'm like, you know what? What the hell? Like, what the hell? It's good to know, right? That if you get into a car accident, you're going to have to wait, 20 minutes for an ambulance and 30 minutes for a cop to show up. But they did show up. And look, they're doing their jobs. They're nice guys. I don't know how long it took for them to get the message that they needed to be there. And why it took so long, that's kind of like, that's not their fault. That's someone else's administrative fault. But they didn't show up for a long time. And the cop got out. He started talking to me. And these guys see that I'm talking to the cop. And they knew that I saw the whole thing. And I didn't want them to know me. I didn't want them to know what I was saying. I didn't want them to see my address when I gave it to the police officer, my phone number. I didn't want any of that. Because I was just, they just looked like the kind of people that, they were just crazy. They weren't good people. They just were not good people. And sure enough, I talked to the cop. I said, listen, I saw the whole thing. The guy ran about 3 red lights. He was driving like totally obnoxiously. My assumption, and I said, look, my assumption is she had a green light, but I wasn't on that side, so I can't see that she had the green light. I don't know for a fact that the light was green. I assume that it was. I don't see why it wouldn't have been. This guy was racing through red lights. He's obnoxious. And the cop's like, all right, I get it. So now this guy's friend who just showed up on the scene, who, like I said, I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if he came out of the passenger side or not. He comes over to the cops to hear what I'm saying. Right. So now I know he's monitoring. They want to, and I knew from the very beginning that they knew that I saw it and they knew I was waiting for the cops to come. So the cop comes over. The guy's friend, the driver's friend, who again, he could have been a passenger, maybe not. He comes over and he tells the cop, I was standing on that corner over there and I saw the whole thing. She ran a red light and crashed right into him. Of course, right? This is the kind of people that we have to deal with these days. And this is why, this is why we have issues with insurance companies and, people get into accidents. It's not their fault, but these guys are just blatantly lying to the police, and the police knew. after hearing my story and then taking my information, and he started hearing, he's like rolling his eyes, now he's taking this guy's information as if these two buddies, like this guy just so happened to be on the corner of the street watching the whole thing. So the cop just said, look, we'll give you a call. They haven't called me yet. I'm assuming they're going to call me at some point to verify everything, which I can't wait to do. So I had to race home, pick up Sam, get her to school, told her kind of what happened. And, it's kind of interesting because nowadays it's so hard to get involved with this stuff because there's legal issues. What happens if I provide care to this woman that, what happens if she can't breathe or if she loses consciousness and I pull her out of the car to give her CPR and then she breaks her neck and then, something happens and I get sued, right? This is the problem with our society at this point. It's like, it's almost less of a hassle for me to just keep driving. But then you just don't know. You never know. And I got to tell you, I have a heightened appreciation for first responders who show up at things like this. Getting out of my car and going over to that person's car, not knowing what I was going to see, was like, it was like you got to do it, but it's nerve-wracking. It was hold your breath, kind of like, I don't know what and then, she was injured. She had chest pain. She had potentially, I don't know if she broke a bone in her leg, but she was complaining about knee pain pretty hard. I didn't see when they took her out because I was talking to the police. So I didn't see when the ambulance took her out. And they were asking her questions for a while, but, man, it gives me a really big appreciation for your first responders and what you guys go through, because that is a moment of that is courage, what you guys do every day just to show up on scene. And I tell you, I don't want to like kind of toot my own horn, but if you're out there and you see something like this, man, you just gotta pull over and help. You gotta do it, because my sense is that there's just a lot of us that deem it a potential hazard to yourself. In many ways. I mean, geez, there was traffic going, we stopped, we pulled over for the accident. There was traffic flying down that road after that accident happened. All you got to do is take one bad step into traffic and, it's dangerous. It's dangerous physically. It's dangerous legally. It's, all that stuff. But you got to do it, because if you were the person in the car, you'd want someone to do it for you, especially since it wasn't her fault at all. At all. So I got home, I picked Sam up, and she was telling everyone the story at her school. It's like 2:30 in the afternoon. And so when she started telling me, because I was busy all day and I hadn't really, and I'm like, I need to call her. And I called her daughter to find out if she was still okay. And, I was, nervous that you never really know what happens on scene, right? What happens on scene versus when you get that person out and into the hospital and in the ER, it's like broken ribs, bro. You just don't know how bad it really is. Now, she was vocal. She was kind of, she was with it, conscious, lucid, all that good stuff. So I felt like she was going to be okay. I talked to her daughter. She had taken x-rays, no broken leg. She had chest pain still in the ER, of course. You'd be in the ER for hours. Obviously totally ruined her day. But, I'm glad to report that she was doing okay. The car is probably not going to be good, but it just, what bothered me was the difference of people. You get first responders on the scene, people that are there, that know what they're doing, that are educated, that are courageous and brave, and then you got these two punks. One guy that just couldn't be bothered to stop for red lights, couldn't be bothered, and then his friend who, despite having a grandmother sitting in her car, completely innocent and in pain, is willing to go and tell the police officer that it was her fault. That's what we live in. That's the world we live in, unfortunately. And I don't know. I felt like it was just a story I had to tell because it was such a big part of my day yesterday. And I don't know if it's going to come off as a good story to tell for you guys here. But that being said, I'm going to call it a day. We got to get off. I got to start packing. I got to get out to DC and cheer you guys on. You guys are going to crush it. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.